is David from Artusha, and you're watching the Brutally Delicious podcast.
For joining me, I appreciate it. Before we even get started in Artusha, is that how I'm pronouncing it?
Artusha, that's what you got.
Why do you think Richmond is such a hotbed of metal? Because it's unlike a lot of other cities, I think, in the U.S., right?
Yeah, it's the scene in Richmond for me, even from a teenager to now, I really feel like it's had its ups and downs, but it's always kind of been there. So a lot of cities probably go through where they may not have much of a scene, or might not have ever had a scene or much of one, but it feels like a little bit of a blessing that we feel like we have one here for sure.
Definitely a really, really cool scene. I mean, from a really good, I don't know, small club scene all the way to, Lamb of God, Grammy winners and that sort of stuff. I mean, but there's a lot of in between, and even, just like I said, like Canal Club or Strange Manor kind of bands.
Yeah, absolutely.
There he is.
You and Cody?
He's connecting now.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we dig it. I feel for bands that are, getting put together and stuff, and they're so far away from the nearest city or something like that. That would just be such a pain in the butt. I feel for bands that have to go through that. It's nice to be able to go. We got Richmond, Fredericksburg's got a little bit of something going on.
Yeah.
You got down towards the beach, you got a little something there. So I mean, there's places all over the state that have been warmly welcoming us. So we're stoked that we're, able to have all that right around us.
Awesome. Hey, Cody, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey!
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Right on, man.
Where are you in the Richmond area? I'm in Mechanicsville.
I'm actually just outside of Richmond in east end of Goochland.
Oh, okay. So we're all pretty close. We were just talking about why we think the Richmond scene is so strong in the metal world, even from the underground all the way to the big Grammy winners. It's a really hardcore metal scene.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's so many good bands.
Yeah.
So just a lot of good bands with a lot of good down to earth people, and that's kind of what drives all of that.
Yeah, and decent venues to play in too. I mean, there's all kinds of cool venues to play.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's talk about the band then. So I've listened to Death to Life, and I've listened to some other stuff. Very, very groove metal oriented. When you guys are writing like with the live setting in mind, how it's going to come across on the stage because it has that sort of groove to it, or are you writing the song for the song's sake and then adapting later on?
I can say right off the bat that I didn't used to write for the stage. I used to write more so just for the sake of the song because it was like a personal thing. But then once you go on the stage for quite some time and you start realizing, oh, this song that I just adore and love, everybody's just standing there. And you're like, well, it just didn't go over very well. So now, I feel like, for the very most part of it is definitely something more personal. You're writing to just be writing it, but you are keeping in mind, hey, we feel like we're getting better as far as the stage band goes, and we feel like that's one of our strong suits. So we've really started to pay a lot more attention to that. And so yeah, I think it's probably a 60-40, 50-50 thing for sure between those two.
Okay. I talk to a lot of bands, and especially nowadays, everybody's doing stuff like remotely and they're not even in the same states. You guys seem to all be in the same area. So are you able to take advantage of being in a room and bouncing stuff off each other, or is that not a thing?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. We rehearse right now just consistently. We have one day a week that we all get together. And then there's other days during the week that we're recording or doing different things with different members. But yeah, we when we first got this kind of back up and going, we had played in this band years and years ago, but obviously life and different things happened and
Right.
we had to get focused and whatever. But now we're in a place where this is a much higher priority for us. And, Brian, our bass player, he used to live in Alexandria and he used to come down, I think, every 2 to 3 weeks. So we had a system, whatever worked. But now he's local here. Everybody's roughly 45 to an hour from the studio. So we're able to make the 1 day a week thing work and do a lot of writing here, just riffing around on my own. And then kind of the other 50% of it gets hashed out in the room with everybody.
I think, at least from my perspective as a music connoisseur or whatever, music consumer, it definitely shows, or there's a difference, and it becomes more organic and more immediate, I think, when it's done that way in the studio, like it used to be done in, the 80s or the 70s before you had Zoom or Dropbox or any of that shit. Do you agree?
Yes. Oh, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
I can definitely see it. Cody, you take that one a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely just being in the same room with the guys, and it's both of the bands that I'm currently in, we kind of bounce tracks back and forth, but yeah, it's nothing like being in the same room, being in the same like feeling with that noise and feeling it out with your guys and just kind of seeing where it's going to go. A lot of the times songs take just way different avenues and just kind of different inputs depending on, how you might be feeling that day, and it might kind of take off in a different way. So it's really important to be in the same room, to me at least, and kind of feel it. It's hard as a drummer to play with just ears, I guess, and not have that full on feeling.
I mean, I know everybody's got to do it differently, and what worked for you guys, may not work for the next band, but I definitely think you can hear that in the final product, when it was actually written that way, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does. I feel, just to elaborate on it a little bit, I really do feel like technology is great. It can be used in a lot of great ways, but there is that part of you that gets a little like start leaning on it too much, and then you can really start taking some of the flavor out of it. To me, so we try to use technology in different ways to make our lives easier, but we try not to do it to where we're completely taken away from the organic process, because in the last probably 6 months, I think we've really grown to love more of the organic process, because guys want to be more involved. And a lot of the older stuff that was written, like you could probably tell, Death to Life has a much different flavor than a lot of the stuff before it. And that's probably where we're heading. But it's just one of those things where, a lot of that stuff doesn't sound just like that if we're not doing that together, versus the song sounds like what I wrote or what Cody wrote, or, you know what I mean? So,
right. Oh, that makes sense. Do you have a takeaway or something you want your fans to walk away with after listening to one of your records, or Death to Life, the new single, or however? Is there something like a big takeaway?
For me, my overall goal in music is it's a form of expression and feeling and emotion, but it's also, to me, music's helped me through life and just in general, whether it be as a teenager or whatever. Those are tough years in lives. So for me, if somebody, especially a kid, teenager, whatever, can put a song on of ours and likes what we're doing and kind of can identify with something that we're saying or just the music itself, and it resonates and helps them not to hurl themselves off a bridge or something, then to me, that's what it's all about for me. And other than that, I just want to just positively affect someone in some way.
I think this kind of music, more so than any other genre, like not like pop genre, you don't find that in country, has more of that connection and more of that feeling and more of that family sort of vibe. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
for sure.
I could, elaborate on that, man.
Yeah, it's I mean, any good scene that you find as far as the metal and the heavier music goes, it's always based on friendship, like you said, family, people, offering their houses up to bands to stay at, or bands jumping on bills. It's just always based on a big family atmosphere and kind of surrounding yourself with people that you want to be around that'll help you succeed in everything that you want to get done.
I don't think you find that in, I don't think you find like that pop family or that country family, or there's something very different about the dark heaviness that brings us all together somewhere. And I think it gets in your skin or in your DNA, like when you're young. Like for me, I remember walking into a record store and seeing Diary of a Madman on the wall and was like, holy shit. I just like the cover. But when I took it home and, the first riffs of Over the Mountain hit, that's it. I've been addicted since, chasing that.
Yeah.
Chasing that dragon forever. Do you guys have is there a record or something that you remember that got you started on this journey?
Ironically, a lot of people think that this is the downfall of the band or close to it. But the Black Album, when I was a kid, my sister, no disrespect to Metallica there at all. But anyways, my sister loaned me a cassette tape of the Black Album, and yes, kids, there were cassettes, and before that there was other things. But long story short, she loaned that tape to me, and I think I burnt that thing out, man. And I think for the next few years of my teenage years, I was like fanatically loyal to Metallica and loved that sound, and it was like there was nothing that could beat that for me. And I still have my moments in time, even in my adulthood, where I'm just like, man, when I hear Justice come on, because that's probably my favorite record of theirs.
Yeah.
And when I hear that record come on, it's just got that vibe to it. It's really moody because Cliff had passed, and just a lot of different stuff. And I was just like, because I think was it when we were at Banditos, Cody, when we were on the other side of the bar side, and they played a little bit of stuff from Justice, and I was just standing there like, damn, I don't think there's a band here tonight that got my blood flowing. Not even my own band. Listening to a song from Justice that came on, it just took me back.
It's also very weird that you mentioned that, because I think music has this really weird way of, you hear a song and it connects you to something like the first time you heard it, or sitting in the car in your family's driveway. It's immediate and it's like vivid.
Yeah, that built a big connection with me and my dad. There was a big disconnect between me and him at a younger age because he worked. He was a roofer and he worked like 7 days a week.
Right.
And so when, as a parent, if you're that tired and you get home 7 days a week, you really don't have a lot of mental real estate for kids and everything else. So I understood it as I got older. I didn't when I was younger. But I remember playing that Black Album tape for him in a rental car that he had just happened to get for something. And I remember that, like you just said, I remember that memory of sitting in our driveway, and he was like, yeah, that's pretty good. And, he was big on like AC/DC and stuff like that. And so Metallica was just a natural step up there for him, I think. And then that became his favorite band and my favorite band. And then later down the line, ran into Gojira. Now that's his favorite band.
Nice.
That's been my favorite band for a while. It's funny.
That's great. What do you guys have planned next? Are you planning on taking this out on the road at all, or is that not a thing yet?
Yes, definitely. We're working on some things. Got a tour coming up. I guess I could say that much. So we're really looking forward to that. We officially decided 2 or 3 months ago, I think, that instead of this year of putting out singles, like we had done last year or was trying to do, we decided to go ahead and put out a full EP. Because, there's a lot of talk about albums are dead or whatever. And I'm like, they're definitely not dead in rock music. That's not the case. You look at pop music or something like that, then it's just single, whatever. But for rock music, that's not the case. And for me, it's just so annoying if you do find a band that you really love and they're still fairly fresh or new, and then they only have like 2 songs or whatever it is. And I'm just like, man, I feel like we're sitting in that right now. So we really want to get more material out sooner, drop the EP, and then roll from there, do a bunch of music videos for it.
I think, I see that the music business had to reinvent itself, especially how we lived in the past 2 years. And, I see the single route But like you said, I'm old school and I want that physical media, and I want to read the liner notes and where you tracked it and who you thanked and all that stuff, how you sequenced it, because there's a sequencing art as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I miss that too. Just like talking about, like, say, Metallica or something, looking at the booklets and that's how you got to know a band back then, because we didn't have computers or whatever. So but yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Sweet. So I know I told you I had a 1:00, so I'm gonna have to jet shortly, but if fans want to find you, can you give us your socials and all that kind of stuff?
Sure. Yeah. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Bands in Town is an app to follow for concerts. Our website, artusha.com. Get to the merch and everything from there. We don't do Twitter.
It's too many.
Am I missing anything, Cody?
No, I think that's it.
YouTube, stuff like that.
Yeah, YouTube, and follow the band and my company TLP Films on YouTube too, Instagram, all that jazz, shooting videos and stuffs.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So you guys
videos.
Go ahead. Sorry.
He actually filmed Death to Life, the music video.
Oh, wow.
For the most part. Mm-hmm.
Nice. You guys are local,
it's hard to do that while you're in it.
Yeah, I imagine. But you guys are local. We'll have to catch up for a beer or something and talk a little more.
Absolutely.
Or even once we get to full openness, maybe we can have you over to cook, because we're starting a new season June 1st. So.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, we just cook in my kitchen. Bands come by, tour buses or whatever, and cook in the kitchen, and we just chat like this, except we're making grandma's hamburgers or whatever.
Oh, that's great.
So anyway, I appreciate you taking the time. Before